Welcome to another connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on our show this week. Each Monday we come into our studios and we have different organizations and people representing those organizations to come in and talk to us about what we think is important in our broadcast area. And we do have a lot of great organizations around our viewing area that do a lot for the community and for the communities around here. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We're going to talk with two young ladies from North Arkansas Regional Medical Center.
Attention safe drivers, keep your vehicle safe with new tires from Worley Tire. Stop in and visit with our friendly and knowledgeable staff and get the tires that are best for your car, truck, or SUV. You can even shop with us online at WorleyTire.com. Worley Tire also features batteries, alignments, tire rotation, and repair. Visit us on the web and like us on Facebook for the latest deals and specials that can keep you and your family safe. Worley Tire, 804 East Stevenson in Harrison.
Here's another satisfied client from Dental Creations of Harrison.
My husband and I both needed to have dentures. I had looked online and we saw a picture of Wanda, just something about her. I thought this is the place we're going to do. And I called in and spoke with Dave, and he was just tremendous. He answered every single question the first call and told us what our copay would be. It was just an awesome experience.
Dental Creations on the square in Harrison, next to the Big Red Boot.
Back on our Connection show today, we have two individuals from NARMC. They are dietitians there at the hospital, and it's Tammy Jimenez, I'll make sure I get it right, and Debbie Arnold. Thank you both for coming in today. We appreciate it. Marcia called and said we want to expose the fact that this is National Nutrition Month, which is the month of March, and you both being dietitians. So let's just kick off a little bit. I'll let either one of you start off. What is the purpose of the National Nutrition Month?
Yeah. Well, National Nutrition Month is just a month to celebrate the importance of good nutrition. So we take full advantage of that at the hospital.
Is that a national thing across the country?
It is. It's sponsored by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and so they recognize it nationwide.
Nutrition is something that people talk about a lot, but don't always do what they say they're going to do. Isn't that right?
That's right.
I'm one of those. I mean, I try to take care of myself and try to eat right and so forth. Do you think it's tougher with the millenniums, with the younger age group, than it was in my age group, or was it vice versa?
I think it's actually easier for them because there's so much access and they have the ability to use the internet, and there's so much information that's out there that it could be right or wrong. And it's kind of tough in my area to explain to them why they might want to be losing weight so fast and on some particular type of fad diet and it's not healthy.
So you think with possibly, of course, everybody out there in the viewing audience, information technology is depending on where you live, who you are, your age group, but even people in my generation that have had to transition, if you will, into the new electronic age. But you can find anything anymore on the internet. I mean, you can look up broccoli and it'll tell you what's broccoli supposed to be good for you, bad for you, whatever. I happen to like broccoli, so I was bragging at it. But okay, do you have a theme for this year? I mean, what they do that each year, I guess, as far as the nationally?
Yeah, they've got a theme every year.
It's Savor the Flavor this year, and what it does is to bring about all of the individuals or all the ethnicity of a meal that you can stop and enjoy, take time to eat, and savor the flavor of the foods.
From the two of you, from your standpoint as professional dietitians, do you see the government, I hate to say this, gets involved in everything these days, from schools, education programs to whatever. Do you see government being more relaxed under rules and nutrition guidelines today than they used to be, or do you think it's more strict? Or the two of you, where do you see that in the profession? I mean, do you think labeling, for instance, food labeling, there's been a lot of question about how much and what all should they put on a can of beans or food products, from sodium to MSM and what all. Do you think it's gotten tougher, or do you think they've been more laxed?
I personally think it needs to be a little bit more tougher to provide a little more information. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has developed a coalition with food companies and schools to help provide some education. And so there are others out there that help with the education, just other than the Academy of Nutrition. So it's a good thing, and with the government and other entities that are involved, we're beginning to be on one wavelength, in that way it's a consistency of the nutrition information being shared.
Well, let's roll back just a moment here. Debbie, for instance, at NARMC, what are your responsibilities, and how many? I'm sure, have you got more dietitians working there other than the two of you?
Right now there's just the two of us.
Okay.
We have had the pleasure of working with a dietetic intern, Amber Estes. She wasn't able to be here today, but she is going to be working with us as soon as she finishes her credentialing process. So hopefully in the near future there will be three, but right now there are just two.
Two of you. Mm-hmm. So what do you do? Tell people kind of what you do as far as at the hospital itself. What's your responsibility?
My responsibility is involved in the patient floor, assisting the hostesses with training them to do bedside food preferences with the patients.
Okay.
I also do outpatient education, and Debbie does the inpatient clinical side of it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So kind of two separate areas there, if you will. Is NARMC, are you doing some special things during the month of March to awareness or whatever?
Yes.
Tell what's going on.
Our intern had a project that she has to do for community-wise, so we chose National Nutrition Month as what she has put together, and everything that we're doing has been based upon what she's put together with coalition with Debbie and myself. We each week on Wednesdays between 11:30 and 1:30 we do something different in terms of offering special meals up there at lunchtime on Wednesdays. We do giveaways. We have little projects that we do. For example, the first week we did infusion of waters, demonstrating how to make infused waters and how you can do it with fruits and vegetables and get some nutrients at the same time and keep you hydrated, healthy.
Nice. The actual menu, if you will, at a medical facility like NARMC, the daily menu type process, is that something that goes through the two of you? I mean, do you approve it? Do you decide what they're going to have, or does the lunchroom supervisor, whoever, director, do they do that?
No, from the patient side of it, it does go through a clinical dietitian.
Okay.
And I do most of the revisement of the menus, find the recipes, and we have a chef that helps to put them together and train our cooks. And we have a great team of the patient menus. We can change them at will whenever. We do special modified diets if we have a patient that comes in and say you need specialty foods such as gluten-free.
Okay.
We have a capability to honoring those food preferences and allowing the patients to make those food choices at bedside.
Which makes them feel better. They've got involvement in it. You've just mentioned a word there, and two words, gluten-free. And I see more and more and more foods that are coming up gluten-free. Is that a major problem for the public out there? I mean, is that something that a lot of people have to deal with? It seemed like 20 years ago you didn't hear much about that. What's happened there?
I don't feel like it's a major problem. I feel like a lot of people have become more aware of being gluten intolerant or being gluten-free, and as a result of that, we've just seen a lot more people that are requesting or requiring gluten-free diets.
And tell me, what is gluten? Where's that derived from? Some people don't even know what it is.
So gluten is a protein in wheat products, and a lot of folks have found themselves to be intolerant to that. Typically, when they find themselves to be intolerant, they have some type of either a skin reaction or some type of a belly reaction. It upsets their stomach. But really, all gluten is a little protein in grains and in wheat that makes bread chewy and squishy. So when you take gluten out of bread, a lot of people find gluten-free products to be really hard and gritty because that gluten protein that provides the texture to most grain products isn't there anymore.
So it's something that the food manufacturers put in the product? Is that correct, or is it a natural thing?
No, it's a natural.
It's a natural thing. So it's extracted.
Yes,
if you
they
will.
would take it out.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. This shows you. See, I didn't know exactly. I never had that problem, but I know a lot of people out there that do. But you see more and more food products that are shown to be gluten free.
Yeah, there's lots of digestive type problems within an individual that can cause you not to absorb those proteins as well. And so it could be a combination of any type of disease, but it's all mostly digestive related.
Activities, are you going to have some activities at the hospital going on, or may already started them?
Yeah.
You mentioned some times or dates or whatever.
We started the first week of March. We have activities every Wednesday, like Tammy said, from 11:30 to 1:30.
Okay.
We kicked it off with the infused waters. This week on Wednesday, we're going to be doing a little informational session on nutrition apps. A lot of people have a smartphone, and to be able to have an app access to look up nutrition information and find out how to live a healthier lifestyle is an important thing for a lot of folks. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We always have a giveaway every week, so it's fun for people to get to sign up for something free and fun that's nutrition related. So every Wednesday.
Now, where do you have these functions in the hospital? Where, at the cafeteria? Or?
Most of them.
Most of them are in the cafeteria.
Yes.
If I were someone out in the viewing audience and I didn't really know what a dietitian's purpose is, in a few words, where could you help somebody like myself, dietitians?
Well, a dietitian's role is just not totally being in the hospital. There are community dietitians, there are school dietitians, there are dietitians that do research. So to become a dietitian, it takes a minimum of 4 years of an accredited college that majors in nutrition, and then you can go on to do an internship, which is what Amber is doing right now, and there's 2 routes to do an internship, and she is doing what they call a outreach type research.
Amber's doing a distance internship, so her home base is in a different state, and she gets to select her rotations, and she chose to come be with us for her clinical rotation. So after the internship, folks are eligible to sit for the registration exam. Upon completion of that exam, if it's passed, then they get to have the credential registered dietitian or registered dietitian nutritionist. Same thing, just a different name.
What if somebody in the viewing audience, so somebody out there, let's take myself, let's say I'm having stomach problems, can't really identify it, maybe I'm not real big on going to a doctor, or maybe I've been to a doctor, would a physician refer somebody like that that's having something to a dietitian to see what perhaps they should change their diet or something?
They sure could.
Yes, to see a dietitian, and in terms of if your insurance pays for it, it covers diabetes or pre-renal type diseases, and then you would need a referral from your physician for the insurance to cover. But if your insurance doesn't cover, you can just call us and we can set you up through centralized scheduling and come in to see us. There is a nominal fee for it. But other than that, you can go through your physician, or you can call and. So
you can actually just go right to you at the hospital there.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That makes it. I mean, some people don't realize that some of the specialty areas, just how do I get there?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And a lot of people are unfortunately not big on going to a physician. Many people don't have a family physician even. You'd be surprised how many people that do not. But that's good to know. Did we cover everything pretty well about the National Nutrition Month? Did I miss anything? It's the whole month of March. Activities going on Wednesdays up there, so come on up and enjoy giveaways. And I missed the injection of the water. I'd like to see what you did there.
It's fun. Yeah,
very tasty.
But obviously you both do a tremendous role in what happens at the hospital, not only from the patient side of it, but from outside people. So, but we do appreciate both of you coming in, being on the show today, and nice to meet both of you. And we look forward to having you in again down the road as you do different things. And we hope National Nutrition Month is a big hit for you and for all over the country, because it's very important. Our diet is very important. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Glad to have both of these ladies on the show from NARMC today, and Tammy Gimenez and Debbie Arnold, both here, both licensed dietitians, obviously, at NARMC. If you have a problem, give them a call or go up by there. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We've got another individual from NARMC to talk about a whole different area.
Hi, I need a safe car.
The Camry's really safe. 10 airbags, even has a backup camera.
Wow, that could come in handy.
Bye. Dad!
Gotta keep my little girl safe.
Don't worry, he'll only be like this for another 10 or 15 years.
At least.
During Toyota's One for Everyone sales event, get $1,500 customer cash. Or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months, plus a $500 subvention bonus on a new 2016 Camry.
Here you go.
Toyota, let's go places.
Dominate every trail. Conquer any task. You need a machine that does it all. Introducing Polaris General. The General is the most powerful wreck utility side-by-side ever made. The industry's deepest cargo box lets you haul and dump up to 600 pounds, and the revolutionary cockpit totally refines comfort and protection. Polaris General, ultimate versatility to win every battle.
Come see us at 824 North Main in Harrison.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on the show today. We do appreciate you coming into our studio every week as we have different organizations and people come in and explain about what they do, about the programs they have, and we have a lot of great organizations. Actually, today we've kind of dedicated it to North Arkansas Regional Medical Center as we had the two dietitians on the first part of our show. And this part of the show, sleep technologist Trey Gilmore. Trey's actually been in on our show before.
Yeah, it was just about a year ago, I think, maybe a little over.
You hadn't been here very long.
I just moved to the area at that point, and was really kind of getting my feet wet in this area, I guess you could say. And so we're back again to have a revisit.
Is it leveled out now? Everything's starting to go good for you?
You know, we were really good whenever I showed up, and whenever I came into this program, they had a real strong sleep laboratory there with a real good respiratory director, and things have just gotten better. I mean, we've really made some strides. We're doing more public education now. We're available during day studies, so patients that have night shift work now can come in during the day and do their sleep study. It takes a little special scheduling, but we can do that and accommodate that, and that's not something we were always able to offer.
You know, I hear more and more about nationally about sleep disorders. In fact, recently, some big-name physicians across the country were talking about how much sleep do you really need? Is sleep important? Can you get too much sleep? Not enough? Is a good, comfortable sleep better than just closing your eyes and tossing and turning and getting up 6 or 8 times a night? It is important. It's very important.
It's very, very important. And one of the main things that people don't realize about sleep is just how vital it is to our day-to-day lives. A joke we use in the sleep business is everybody sleeps and everything sleeps. And it's that important that it's something that literally every living organism does in some way, shape, or form or another. And, you can definitely get too much sleep. And a lot of times as our hustle and bustle of adult life gets us, we want to feel like we're pushing that sleep back. Maybe that it's not the most important thing. We've got other things to deal with, children, work, stress. And we find ourselves kind of getting by on the bare minimum and almost running a sleep diet, almost like you would say, where maybe instead of getting the 7 to 8 hours we need a night, we're getting by on 5 to 6. And you build up a sleep debt with that. Your body stores all of that sleep that you're not getting and needs it. And eventually, sometimes when we don't necessarily want it to happen, it'll get it. It'll put you to sleep. And, you start suffering from, of course, health deterioration. It's rough on your heart. It's rough on your body. It's rough on your lungs. And it's just really rough on you as a person and your own personality. So it's definitely something that we're wanting to, I guess, fix or solve in some of the population that we're dealing with.
Something that I happened to see on national media recently, and I think they were actually doing a study, if I recall, but they were talking about people who work graveyard shifts, people that work late night, that their body clock is completely the opposite, and they said, does your body adjust to that? And there were some differences in opinion as to whether or not your body really ever adjusts to, say, you go to work at midnight and you work till 7 in the morning,
Right.
and you sleep during the day. Do you have situations where people have a hard time with that kind of thing? Have you seen situations like that?
Very, very much, and very often, and that's one of the main reasons, again, that we're offering that daytime availability for patients that do have shift work. I mean, we're shift workers. I'm up all night, so one of the things that we want to do is show sympathy towards other people that are like that, and it's difficult to switch your sleep schedule back and forth. It would be one thing if it was a super necessity or a medical emergency, but we really, when we bring you in the lab, we want to try to keep you doing as much as your normal schedule as possible, and doing as much as what you would do on a nightly basis there in the lab. So if you normally sleep during the day, then we want to try to accommodate that and allow that, so we're not getting inaccurate data.
Is sleep disorders, do you see, is it more prevalent in males or females or older people, middle age? Is it across the board? Is there any particular area or section that's maybe more prevalent than others?
Sadly, it's pretty much even across the board. Different types of sleep disorders, like for instance, obstructive sleep apnea, which is a big deal with a lot of the population, is typically more prevalent in men up to the age of about 40 to 45, and then it's pretty much right on the money for both. I mean, men and women can suffer from it. But other sleep disorders like insomnia, maybe circadian rhythm disorders, restless leg or limb movement disorders, things like that are pretty much across the board. One of the main things that we see a constant trend in, even in our young population, our children especially, is just poor sleep habits and poor sleep hygiene. People aren't educated about sleep. I mean, if you think about it, no one ever teaches you how to sleep. It's not something that you get an instruction manual on. You're just told to go to bed. And eventually, as we become our own person and our own adult and our own boss, we tend to put that as one of those things we do less and less. And so really what we want to try to do is get people focused on doing what they can for themselves outside of therapeutic intervention.
Some of the old sayings used to be, you can't sleep your life away. Well, you truly do need X amount of sleep to let your body shut down and to rest and so forth. Sleep apnea, I can't say that very well. Is that one of the more common things that you see probably?
Sleep apnea, yes, it is definitely one of the most common issues, simply because it's something that almost everyone has a little bit of.
Okay.
Apnea, by definition, is just the stopping or pausing of breath. And everybody does a little bit of that during the night. Mainly, it's caused by two things that we cannot control. Our muscles relaxing, which happens every time that you fall asleep. That's one of the main reasons we fall asleep. And gravity, which is around us all the time. And so as that gravity starts to slowly push back on the muscle tissue around your airway, it compresses. And this happens to everybody. So when you come in the lab, we're not here just to see if you do this a little bit. That just means you're normal and human. We're looking for constant inconsistencies throughout the night that is causing sleep fragmentation and causing constant issues where patients maybe aren't awake, but they're not really asleep either. It's kind of like stuck in stop-and-go traffic. You're moving, but you're not going where you want to go.
I see. Is it something that if you suspect as an individual that you may be having some sleep disorders or something, is that something you should just blow off and let it go, or should you actually, is it something that could be worse and as it continues on?
It definitely is something that can compound as time goes on. And the best thing you can do with your sleep, because it is so vitally important to our health, is do something about it right away. Even if you're just having small complaints or just feeling like you're not getting the rest you need at night, say something to your doctor about it. It doesn't always mean that you're going to, be diagnosed with sleep apnea or get a mask or get some type of odd treatment. It just means that if we can find out what the problem is, we're that, one step closer to getting it solved and to getting you back to a better night's sleep, which is what we want. That's what we do at the sleep lab.
So if somebody's having or suspects that they have a problem, they really should tell their family physician if they have one, and say, here's what and then they would take it from there.
Yeah, and doctors are trained these days to sleep education, something that they're getting into as well. And used to that wasn't the case. And so more and more physicians, more and more of your general practitioners and your APNs and whatnot are all very schooled in proper sleep diagnostics. So they're able to take little pieces of information that you as a patient may be giving them and use that to compile to see if this is actually an issue. I mean, obviously, if we have someone who just came out of a major surgery and is going through lots of other medical issues, your sleep's going to be affected by that. Sure. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to rush right into the sleep lab, but talk to your doctor about it. Let them be the one that makes the decision, because we don't know everything going on with our body. And when we're asleep, we're completely unconscious. And there's things that occur throughout the night that, even though we're not aware of, can drastically alter our state of being and our well-being.
The old saying, you can't burn your candles at both ends. Teenagers, college students tend to do that a lot, as you know. Is something along that line? I mean, people fall asleep at the wheel of a car, which is a dangerous situation. But it is important to make sure that your body does get and it's more for some people need 8 or 9 hours, some can 7 hours or 6 hours. Is there any common ground there that you see?
Really, the studies are showing right now that a good common ground is to try to be in bed for about 8.5 hours, hoping that you get about 7.5 hours of sleep. There are a small amount of the population that has been proven scientifically to be able to function and work on short amounts of sleep, but that is a fraction of the population. Most of us, whether we believe it or not, do need a full 7 to 8 hours every night. And if we're not getting that every night, then, like I was saying earlier, that sleep debt builds up and builds up and builds up. And then by the time that you're forced to come see me, I'm the last guy you want to see.
Is there anything, we got about 3 minutes left, is there anything that, as far as preparing yourself as an individual, that might help you to sleep? I mean, no, I'm just throwing this out. Drink a glass of milk before you go to bed, or is there anything, a few little tips there?
It's funny you mentioned that. Believe it or not, that is a fairly accurate old wives' tale, the glass of milk. The warm milk before bed, you don't want to drink a lot, but a small glass. The warmness kind of soothes your body. The milk has fatty acids in it that will just kind of help you to get to that first stage of sleep. It increases your serotonin levels and allows that to occur. So, I mean, don't take that, to the bank by any means. But yeah, a warm glass of milk could help. But really what you want to do is try to keep the same sleep schedule every night, day in and day out. Try to stay within an hour. Don't oversleep on the weekends. Don't stay up real late on some nights. Try to keep the same schedule. Take outside influences, like maybe turn your TV off so the light's not flashing through the room at night. Maybe put a towel over your alarm clock so you're not tempted to wake up and look at and check the time every time that you arouse from sleep. Just do little things like that. Sleep hygiene is something that you can Google or search on the internet, and you'll get a list of about 10 to 15 things to do. And the important thing is not to change too much at once. You don't want to do everything at once. You want to pick 2 or 3 things off that list and start altering your sleep practices very slowly, and then over about a month to 2 months, get to where you're really doing things on an optimal level. But and to touch on what you were mentioning earlier with the drowsy driving, it is definitely something that a lot of our public and a lot of our youth is very, very affected by. Teenagers, college-age students, they're up all night, they're studying, they're partying, they're doing all these fun things, and then they still have to be at work, still have to make that first class, they still have to do all these things. And they're the ones that are on the roads most often, just out driving around, and that causes lots and lots of issues. Drowsy driving has been slowly declining over the last few years, but it's still a major, major issue in today's youth.
Well, Trey, you've given us a lot of good information here today. Trey Gilmore from North Arkansas Regional Medical Center, sleep technologist there. Don't forget, all about healthy sleep coming up. March 19th, that's Saturday, March 19th from 1 till 4 at NARMC. What location out there?
We're going to be in Conference Room C and Conference Room D.
Okay.
So, when you walk in, if you just check with one of the people at the admissions desk, they'll point you in the right direction. We should have signs and all that good stuff, so it should be easy to find.
Fantastic. Trey Gilmore, thank you so much for coming in. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Keep up with the good work. We hope we brought some information to you today that perhaps you didn't know about, and we appreciate North Arkansas Regional Medical Center and all the things they do for our community here. Thanks for joining us on Connection. We'll see you again next time.
Local television worth watching. KTKO Channel